Well, all right. Let's say we get started with another reading from Grimm's Complete or Fairy Tales. That's right. But first, we gotta set the mood, shall we? All right. Hey, a little energy up there. That's right. Gotta get my energy up. And yours too. Or you can just settle down and get a little relaxed. I'm a libertarian, so I reckon you can do what you please. All right. Let's get started with a reading of Mr. Korbes. A cock and a hen once wanted to go on a journey together. So the cock built a beautiful carriage with 4 red wheels, and he harnessed 4 little mice to it. And the cock and the hen got into it and were driven off. Very soon they met a cat who asked where they were going, and the cock answered, "On Mr. Korbes a call to pay, and that's where we will go today." "Well, take me with you," said the cat. And the cock answered, "Very well, only you must sit well back, and then you will not fall forward. And pray take care of my red wheels there, and wheels be steady and mice be ready. On Mr. Korbes a call to pay, for that's where we go today." Then there came up a millstone, then an egg, then a duck, then a pin, and lastly a needle, who all got up on the carriage and were driven along. But when they came to Mr. Korbes's house, he was not at home. So the mice drew the carriage into the barn, the cock and the hen flew up and perched on a beam, the cat sat by the fireside, the duck settled on the water, but the egg wrapped itself in a towel, and the pin stuck itself in a chair cushion, the needle jumped into bed amongst the pillows, and the millstone laid itself by the door. Then Mr. Korbes, he came home, and he went to the hearth to make a fire, but the cat threw ashes in his eyes. And then he ran quickly into the kitchen to wash himself, but the duck splashed water in his face. And then he was going to wipe it with the towel, but the egg broke in it and stuck his eyelids together. In order to get a little peace, he sat down in his chair, but the pin ran into him. And, starting up in his vexation, he threw himself on the bed. But as his head fell on the pillow, it went into the needle, so that he called out with pain, and madly rushed out. But when he reached the house door, the millstone jumped up and struck him dead. What a bad man Mr. Korbes must have been. Well, what happened to the cock and the hen? They must have just been up in them rafters enjoying the whole scene, I guess. Anyway, let's move on to the Vagabonds. The cock said to the hen, "It's nutting time. Well, let us get together to the mountains and have a good feast for once before the squirrels come and carry all away." "Yes," answered the hen. "Come along, we will have a jolly time together." Then they set off together to the mountains, and it was a fine day, and they stayed there till the evening. Now whether it was that they had eaten so much, or because of their pride and haughtiness, I do not know, but they would not go home on foot. So the cock set to work to make a little carriage out of nutshells. When it was ready, the hen seated herself in it and said to the cock, "And now you can harness yourself to it." "Now that's all very fine," said the cock. I would sooner rather go home on foot than do such a thing. And I never agreed to it. I don't mind being a coachman, sitting on the box. But as to drawing myself, well, that's quite out of the question." And as they were wrangling, a duck came a-quacking. "You thieving vagabonds, who told you you might go to my mountain? Well, look out, it'll be the worse for you." And she flew at the cock with bill wide open. But the cock was not backward, and he gave the duck a good dig in the body, and hacked at her with his spurs hers so valiantly that she begged for mercy, and willingly allowed herself to be harnessed to the carriage. And the cock seated himself on the box, and was coachman. So off they went at great pace, the cock crying out, "Run, duck, run as fast as you can." And when they had gone part of the way, they met 2 foot passengers, a pin and a needle. And they cried, "Stop, stop," and said that it would soon be blind men's holiday, and that they could not go a step farther, and that the ways were very muddy, and that they might just get in for a little. Well, they had been standing at the door of the tailor's house of call, and had been delayed because of a beer. The cock, seeing that they were very slender folks and would not take up a great deal of room, let them both step in. Only they must promise not to tread on his nor the toes of the hen. Late in the evening they came to an inn, and there they found that they could not go any farther that night, as the duck's paces were not good, and she waddled so much from side to side. So they turned in. The landlord at first made some difficulty. His house was full already, and he thought they had no very distinguished appearance. At last, however, when they had made many fine speeches, and had promised him the egg that the hen had laid on the way, and that he should keep the duck, who laid one every day, he agreed to let them stay the night. And so they had a very gay time. Early in the morning, when it was beginning to grow light and everybody was still asleep, the cock waked the hen and fetched the egg and made a hole in it, and they ate it up between them, and put the egg-shell on the hearth. And then they went up to the needle, who was still sleeping, and picked him up by his head and stuck him in the landlord's chair cushion, and having also placed the pin in his towel, off they flew over the hills and far away. And the duck, who had been chosen to sleep in the open air, and had remained in the yard, heard the rustling of their wings, and waking up, looked about till she found a brook, and down which she swam a good deal faster than she had drawn the carriage. A few hours later the landlord woke, and leaving his feather bed, began washing himself. But when he took the towel to dry himself, he drew the pin across his face, and made a red streak from ear to ear. Then he went into the kitchen to light his pipe, but when he stooped towards the hearth to take up a coal, the eggshell flew in his eyes. "Everything goes wrong this morning," said he, and he let himself drop, full of vexation, into his grandfather's chair. But up he jumped in a moment, crying, "Oh dear!" for the needle had gone into him. Now he became very angry, and he had his suspicions of the guests who had arrived so late the evening before, and when he looked round for them, they were nowhere to be seen. Then he swore that he would never more harbor such vagabonds that consumed so much, paid nothing, and played such nasty tricks into the bargain. And that has been The Vagabonds and Mr. Korbes from Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. That's right. Hey, you want your own copy of Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales? Well, just go down in the description there, and I got an affiliate link for you to click on, for you to do your shopping through to help support the channel, and I greatly appreciate if you would do so. But if you choose not to, well, hey, I'm a libertarian, so I appreciate that. Or I can appreciate it, rather. Anyhow, let's set the mood and take us out, shall we? All right. Hey, did you like them Grimm's Fairy Tales? Yeah, let me know down in the comments one way or the other. I know I did. Well, except for a little bit of redundancy there, but you know how the Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales are if you've been here before. In any event, I just want to say, kisses to the missus and a tip of the hat to your old cat. You have a good one, and we'll see you on the next one.